Is it possible to end homelessness in America, or even here at home? No, I'm afraid it is not. Why should you care, and why do I even care? Well, I've been a social worker even before I knew it, working on problems like this. I moved to Washington, D.C. when I was 21 to take a job in the U.S. Congress. It was a time of Newt Gingrich and the Contract of America, and Bill Clinton was our president. I was full of optimism, I had big ideas, and I was excited to be part of something grand. Then I began volunteering with an organization that provided mentoring to at-risk kids in Washington, D.C. called Horton's Kids Incorporated. I did homework, I took field trips, and I got to know their families. Soon, I saw the disconnect between the public policy I was working on during the day and the families that I had begun to know and seen and helping at night. I knew the experience that they were having just 20 blocks from the U.S. Capitol, and it didn't work for me. I knew I had to do something more, so I went on to get an advanced degree in social work. So I've been working on problem solving for over 25 years in my community. So I'm asked again, can we solve homelessness in America, or even here at home? I think that we can make it more brief and less frequent, but no, I do not think that we can solve homelessness altogether. This is a paradox because you look around and our community is thriving. We have cranes in the air, and really every city in America is doing well, and development is happening. We have some of the lowest unemployment in history, less than 4% nationwide, and even here in Colorado, it's only 3%. Home values are rising, homes are flying off the market. Apartment vacancy rates are less than 5%. The challenge is that the rent for a one-bedroom apartment in our community is about $900 a month. This might be okay for you and I who are working, but it's out of reach for many of our neighbors. I am concerned about the fundamental gap that is widening between those who have and those who have not. We have about 14% of our community living at the poverty line or below. This doesn't sound like much, but for those who are on the bitter edge, homelessness is a crisis away. In fact, for many Americans, homelessness could be a handful of crises away. You could lose your job and then lose your home. You may have an unexpected medical expense. Recently, CNBC says that 1/3 of Americans do not have an emergency savings account to get them through a crisis. 2/3 of Americans then are without. What will they do if they have multiple problems in their life or our family members? Now, I believe that homelessness is not a life sentence. It is temporary, but what we need to do is make it as brief as possible and non-reoccurring. How do we do this? What are the solutions? I believe one of the fundamental contributing factors is a lack of housing, a lack of affordable housing. We do not even have enough apartments in our community for those who have steady jobs. If that 5% vacancy rate is happening for market rate apartments, what is happening for those who earn very low wages? If apartments are a stretch for some who are middle class, teachers, IT workers, managers in department stores, what are those doing who are the convenience store clerks and the day laborer? What are they doing for housing? And what happens if they have a crisis? They stumble into homelessness. Now, across America, we have about 500,000 individuals and families experiencing homelessness every night. That is equal to the population of Colorado Springs and then some. Imagine if our whole city was citizens experiencing homelessness, living in shelters, living in transitional housing, sleeping in their cars and working during the day, or camping along the trails in our public spaces. Imagine. our whole city of homeless persons. What can we do to address this issue? I believe we have many choices. We can address affordable housing and build more apartments along the continuum, apartments that are accessible to the low-wage worker, the middle class, and the upper class. Housing available for all is our first step. Then we need a healthcare system that's available and accessible to all, that not only deals with our physical health, but also our mental health and provides substance abuse treatment. Sadly, the data tells us that at least 30% of those who experience homelessness have a severe substance abuse disorder. Now, it's a chicken and an egg question. Did that get them into the problem, or are they self-medicating to deal with the trauma of being homeless? We're not here to answer that question today. What we're really here to talk about is what a community can do to address homelessness. There are many things that we can do, and I ask you to think about your role in that. No, I'm not asking you to write a check to XYZ organization to solve the problem, but what I am asking you to do is to be an active voter for public policy that addresses affordable housing construction, zoning policies that support the increase of density of apartments and housing in our community. I'm asking you to support candidates that believe that community development is one that supports all citizens, not just those who are thriving. So I leave you with a challenge and a thought from presidents in the past who built a nation and addressed poverty of the generations. Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we are providing enough for those who have little." My friends, let's work together to build a community that is here for all of us and that in which we all thrive. Thank you.